England. I don't know, but yeah. So the best advice that you've had from, say, another coach, you know, someone who you looked up to, what would it be? Say, Henry.
Well, this is interesting. So I've got notes for all these questions, and the answer I've got for this is none.
Right.
I couldn't really think of the best advice I've had from another coach. Now, whether that's because I haven't gone out and asked people,
Okay.
or they've not given it, or not. The only, I suppose, when I did my level 1 qualification, I think it was, and also a CPD I did, Gordon Fern was running some stuff, and that was all about fun and sort of fun game stuff. And so probably that sticks in mind from some stuff from Gordon Fern, some of the fun games and stuff he was doing. But a specific piece of advice, I cannot sort of think of anything that really stuck out. So I that's my answer. Done.
Okay, done.
Nice.
Well done. All right, Elroy, what anything for you?
Yeah, I think the best advice I got is from Ellie.
Okay.
Yeah, and
He is a wise man, mind. He is.
No,
wise.
I'm definitely not. It's Stevie that teaches me everything.
just send me to continue with what I'm doing, and I'm doing quite well for someone who just came back in the game. You know, I get a lot of inspiration from Ellie.
Cool.
Yeah.
To carry on fighting.
Yeah.
Nice. That's a great piece of
cool.
advice, actually.
Yeah.
Always that a lot of people give up too quickly.
Yeah. And when I started, the talks behind my back was, I'll never make it. I'm just a big mouth who will not achieve nothing.
I still get that now. Don't worry about it.
We everyone here gets that. We all get that.
Yeah.
The more you put yourself out there, the more you get it.
Yeah, for sure.
What about you, Rory?
So I was thinking about this, and I thought, well, I never had any coaching as a kid. I never really had anybody coaching me at the corner. The only coaching I've ever had is at training camps. So that's where and again, I couldn't really narrow it down to one. So I've got about 3 or 4. So I remember one piece of advice was when you're stepping out after doing a short ball, to only step out partially. If you step fully out and it's short again, you're not going to get back in again for that short ball. I got that was from Sweden. Another one is when you're doing drop. This is also from Sweden. When you're doing drop shots, you know, to go a bit sideways. Yeah, because it's going sideways, it's going to go a bit shorter. If you go forwards, the ball's not going to go short enough. Another one is when you're doing backspin serves, to keep your elbow like nice and low, because if you bring your elbow up, you're going to start getting more side spin on your serve. And then maybe one more would be when you're kind of getting your ready position to kind of be left foot forwards, because that kind of, you can still do your forehand with your rotation, but it doesn't stop you from doing a backhand as long as you're far enough away from the table. So yeah, that'd be my
your one tip.
So you think, Rory, as a coach, though, that's all.
Rory's just done a coaching session there, I think.
That's all coaching advice for a player. Rory, is there one thing advice for a coach for you? You know, you've said, oh yeah, that's really.
Yeah, so as another coach.
All of these bits of advice I can take into my own coaching and use that to coach other people.
That's true.
Yeah. So what about you? What about you, Ellie? What sort of?
Okay, well, actually, I thought about the question hard, and I'm thinking, how can I answer it so people can really learn from it? And I phoned up one of my friends. He's one of the top coaches in the world as a football coach. And we always have great discussions about the difference between football and table tennis, which one's harder, all that kind of stuff. And we have always agreed on one thing. And that one thing is individualism. And many coaches out there don't quite, not just coaches, even players, don't quite understand that it's not a system. You mustn't be in a system because if you're in a system, it might help Jimmy and Joe, but it won't help all the others. And you have to be very, very careful. So when you're stepping into a hole as a player or whether you're a coach, if you're stepping into a hall and everyone's doing the same thing, 9 times out of 10, that's not going to work for you. So you have to be an individual. And as a coach, you have to find how to help the individual, not how to help systematically. Because a lot of coaches, what they do is they learn one way and they think, oh, that's the way I learned. I'll teach it for the rest of the people. So for me, that's a huge lesson. And I want to just a little bit elaborate on that. I learned an amazing lesson from one of my students. And he said to me, look, Ellie, you might live to 80, 90, 100 if you're lucky. And you're going to have those years of experience. And that gives you 80, 90 years of experience. But if you read books and you study, your experience level becomes infinity. So take all these lessons from as many people as you can, read books and all that kind of stuff, and use that to help as many different people instead of just having your own experience and giving out your own experience.
Cool.
That's good.
Steve?
Right, I thought this was a brilliant question. I love this question, and like Ellie, I really thought about it, and 2 things popped into my head straight away. But then when I thought about it, I was quite disappointed because 2 bits of advice came from different sports, not from table tennis. And a little bit like Rory, I couldn't think of anything from table tennis. The 2 bits that I got, one was from a tennis course I did a level 1 tennis course, and I was quite fortunate. The guy who was taking the tennis course, it was a 4-day event thing, and he took ill. And there happened to be a party of people, and a tennis coach from America had come over with this party of people just to see the opening of this centre. And the guy hadn't turned up, so he jumped in and took his place. And it was one of the best half-a-day sessions I've ever had of any coaching. And you know what tennis is like, a little bit more stuck up than table tennis. You all had the white gear on with half a dozen rackets in the bags and
strawberries and creams on the side.
Yeah. And this guy, his best thing was he got a tennis ball and he put a penknife through it and said to someone, right, you're going to play with that. And then he got a bean bag and a super ball and a balloon and all different things. And we all had to play. And at Fest, all the players were moaning like mad. Oh, this is rubbish. I'm not enjoying it. And he had people doing forehands and backhands with all these different. And you had to move from one station to the other. So you went with every single type of ball. And after about 2 or 3 minutes, everybody got a little bit better at doing what they were doing. And at the end, he lined everybody up and he lined every ball along the floor in front of us, or bean bag and whatever. And he said, you all moaned. He said, if I made you all play with this brilliant ball on this fantastic AstroTurf, he said, you're all going to play well, but he said, you're never going to learn to adapt. And he said, I've just given you all them different things. And he said, you all learn to adapt. And he said, I'll tell you now, the top players in the world will make this fantastic tennis ball play like that bean bag, like that super ball, where they can make an ordinary ball do all the different things. You've just had to come there. And he said, you must learn to adapt. And I just thought it was such a brilliant thing. And one of the things when I set Swearbook, which never quite came off, but I would have liked to have done, is have different tables. So, you know, have a Yola table, a butterfly table, Donier table, and stuff like that, because then people will learn to adapt to different tables. But when you go in a club, everybody gets used to their actual sort of environment.
Yeah.
But really, when you go to a competition or you play in different venues, the environment changes and you've got to learn to adapt. And a lot of players can't do that. So, yeah, I learned about adaptation, and I bring that into my coaching quite a lot. But unfortunately, it wasn't from table tennis course. No. I learned that.
But it was a good bit of advice by the sound of it.